What's up, guys? So the big fight of the weekend is now over. Dust has settled. Anthony Joshua is now the IBF, IBO and WBA Unified World Heavyweight Champion. A really good fight over the weekend. Way better than I think a lot of us thought it was going to be. The stadium looked awesome. The entrances were really good. Everything from the theme music, the entrance music, to the national anthems. Everything was on point, so you've got to credit Matchroom. They did a really good job. And Klitschko's promotional team as well, because they were obviously involved. So the magnitude of the fight was reflected in what we saw. It was a really, really good fight. I don't think anyone would disagree with it. It was one of those fights where the pendulum swings. 1 minute it's Joshua, then it's Klitschko, and then Joshua again. So what I'm doing in this video is talk a little bit about the fight itself and what it means for the winner and the loser and the rest of the heavyweight fighters. So the fight itself, the only thing that surprised us really was Vladimir Klitschko. I think he probably surprised just about everybody because his performance was bloody brilliant. For a 41-year-old man, he did really, really good, and I think he surprised a lot of people, and I think he surprised Joshua. The fight starts off, I don't know if anybody's, most of you probably have seen it, but for those of you that haven't, the fight starts off a little bit cagey, as you would expect whenever it's a big fight. A few nerves, but Klitschko, as I say, he surprised everyone. He took the centre of the ring, controlled the fight in the beginning rounds with his jab, and Anthony Joshua was a little bit predictable, just looking for the right hand, and we kind of tell that that's what Joshua was going to do, because he came in, when he weighed in at 250 pounds. Quite heavy, looking very muscly. It seemed as though his tactics were to seek and destroy Klitschko early and to really, really send out a statement to the other heavyweights. Initially, it started off like that though. It was going to plan in round 5 when Joshua finally connected with a punch, knocked Klitschko down, and then kind of blew himself out. Got really tired, and Klitschko just started dominating. And in round 6, Klitschko landed a sweet right hand cross that knocked Joshua down. We didn't think he was going to get up from that. I think a lot of people thought he was going to get up for it, but he did. He managed to beat the count. Completely blew out. A younger Klitschko probably would have finished him. I think a lot of other fighters probably would have finished Joshua there and then, but Klitschko probably knew, or probably thought, that he, with his experience, could see a tired Joshua and was going to let him survive because he knew he'd get more tired, and so probably wouldn't take that risk going into Joshua in round 6 and risk getting knocked out by a Joshua punch, so thought he'd probably take his time with him and work him over. And in rounds 7 and 8, Joshua managed to kind of keep away from Klitschko, and Klitschko, being a typical Vladimir Klitschko, wasn't really pressing the action, kind of sat back, just looking for the occasional jab and trying to set up a right hand. But whilst he was doing all that, and the pace had slowed down, Joshua obviously got a second wind, and in rounds 9 and 10, he started looking a little bit more dangerous, although Klitschko still had things under control. And obviously around 11, Joshua managed to land that uppercut, which has now become a little bit famous on social media with those giraffe photographs. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. It was clearly edited, but kind of amusing, I suppose. And not so much for Klitschko though. So from there, Joshua won the fight. What we really want to do is look at where each fighter goes from here. For Vladimir Klitschko first, the man's 41 years old. Apparently he's got a rematch clause, which a few of the guys have spoken about, both Joshua's team and Klitschko's team. Whether or not he exercises it is a different matter. Personally, we want to see him go. He's 41 years old. If another fight was to happen, probably take place in 2018, maybe the late part of 2017, maybe. And it's just going to add another year to him. And you can see, look at Klitschko's body. He had back sag, skin on his back. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but that's when you know you're old. You tend to see that kind of saggy skin on old people, right? And although he did really well, although he was really, really good and taught Joshua a lesson, actually, we thought, he can't sustain those punches anymore, and getting older isn't going to make him any better. At least we don't think, anyway. So we would like to see Klitschko go, and he's definitely one of the best fighters ever. Did a tremendous job in there, and he's a class guy, inside and outside the ring. Everyone generally loves the guy. As for Joshua, young man's game, I think if Klitschko was younger, he would have taken Joshua out when he had him hurt. Joshua's 27 years old at the moment. His game's all based on power. That's his style. Knock people out, hence the big muscles. He's got a lot of options now. He's got his mandatories in Pulev, who also won in Bulgaria in a bit of a scrappy fight with Johnson, and he's also got Ortiz. You then got the other champions in the division, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. He's not a champion at the moment, but he's certainly one of the main guys that everybody wants to see. And of course, Joseph Parker. We would like to see Joshua fight Fury. I think most people want to see him fight Fury, but Fury's got way too many obstacles to overcome before he can even get in the ring. And again, just like a Vladimir Klitschko rematch, you're probably looking at 2018 before a fight between those guys can take place. I don't know if you guys have seen Fury lately, but he's not exactly looking in shape. So that's a fight we would like to see, but probably more realistic for Joshua is to fight one of the mandatories. Maybe Parker. I can't see the Wilder fight happening. Deontay Wilder doesn't, for whatever reason, really seem to... I mean, he talks about these fights, but then you've got the whole Bellew situation as well, so we'll see, but we don't think the Wilder situation is likely. As for Joshua's future, where do we see him going? I think this fight was quite telling. It's definitely the most challenged he's been. It's the first time he's been on the floor. And those muscles that Joshua has is helpful for him. It's effective for his style, which is to knock people out. And it's helpful because, as most of you will know, muscle weighs more than fat. Having that extra bulk on your arms is going to add more weight, which only increases the velocity of the punch, which is why he's knocking so many guys out. If you look at Joshua's frame in the amateurs, he was quite thin, quite lean kind of heavyweight, and he'd be knocked down, stopped a few times. Dillian White being one of them that stopped him in the amateurs. So that's what Joshua's game is designed to be. He's got a big frame, and it's also good for defense purposes. When you've got punches coming in, if you've got massive, huge arms, it decreases the angle that an opponent's shot can sneak through to get through your defense. But the disadvantage of it is that your body needs to consume more oxygen. More oxygen needs to get to those muscles, the blood needs to get to those muscles, and it makes you tired a lot more quickly. And so if you don't get someone out quickly, like Joshua failed to do with Klitschko, there's a risk that you're going to get knocked out yourself. And if Klitschko was younger, we think he probably would have knocked Joshua out. So there's that going forward. We don't think Joshua is the best heavyweight at taking shots. Prior to Klitschko, his best opponent was Dillian White. And Dillian White nearly knocked him out as well with a left hook. So he's been wobbled a few times, he's had a few incidents in the amateurs as well. So going forward, we think there's certainly a vulnerability there with Joshua's chin. His stamina isn't the best, and he's only 27 years old. And based on his style of fighting, as he gets older, he's going to have to adapt, because you can't remain big and bulky for a long period of time. Just imagine Joshua trying to be Klitschko's age now, 41, and trying to fight like that. Does any of you seriously think Joshua going to get to that age? Probably not. Not to the point where he's still going to be fighting anyway. So where do the fighters go from here in terms of Klitschko and Joshua? Klitschko, we'd like to see him go now, retire gracefully. He's gone. He's a true champion. He's done a tremendous job for the division. He's been great. 41 years old. He's just tremendous. Can't really get the words to describe Klitschko, but he's just great. Like I said, class act. As for Joshua, there's some interesting fights lined up. So we'll see if they actually happen this year. Hopefully they do, but they probably won't. As we know, boxing, everything takes ages. So we can all hope. As always, everything we say in these videos is just our opinions, not facts. And if you like the video, subscribe. Thanks.